Hello, everyone. I see that we're already live. So,
Hello, hello.
hello. Usually, we are doing such kind of testing. So, really, we'll wait just a couple more seconds for all registered participants because usually we have some a bit lag. So, first question, as we are familiar from testing, we should test the chat section. So, guys, just if you may write a bit in the chat section that you are seeing us and hearing us correctly, that will be amazing. And if you want, you can say and write. Where are you from? Just use the chat section. On the right top corner, I think, as I remember in YouTube.
Rafa, you don't use YouTube on daily basis? That's weird.
That's weird. No, I'm just trying to remember where there is, but I think yeah. Hello, Asma. Cool. Thank you to the comment in the chat section. Okay. Guys, so we are here today to host a webinar for you in terms of Dynamics 365, how to limit business users testing. But before that, we want to, together with Bart, amazing that we are hearing us. We want to invite you guys to join us and meet us in person in Slovenia between 22nd and 24th of May, on the Dynamics Mind meeting, we say community meeting. And what is cool about this meeting and this community meeting is that we will hold a very cool session. Bart, you may say a bit, what is the name of the prelection? As I remember, magical something.
Yeah, most likely we're going to talk about test automation, and we're going to show a lot how to perform automated testing on Dynamics. But definitely we're going to have a stand session. I mean, also the booth where we can quick chat on testing and as well on some achievements, case studies, if you're going to be interested, as well as some other implementation aspects related to security or rollouts or localization packages. There will be a few more guys from the team waiting us, and we'll look forward to do that. And actually, Raf, I think, as I remember, we have another event. This one to be in Charlotte.
Yeah, in Charlotte, it's like North American summit, or this is like a continuous, we'll say, summits of the North American, side Dynamics. Yes, so we also will be there. So, guys, if someone is from right now from US, we will be able to meet in person there. So, join us also there. As I remember, this is like a part of October when we are meeting usually in North America with our colleagues.
15th October something.
Exactly, 15th of October. So yeah, go ahead if you are located nearby or you will be there. Also visit us. We'll be able to speak about test automation, regression testing, security setup. So all the things which our tool are doing. So cool. So firstly, Slovenia, go ahead and meet us. And secondly, go ahead and meet us again if you will have such opportunity in Charlotte during the North American Summit. Cool. So you are seeing us, you are hearing us, so we can start. So I'm Rafał Nyszewski, and I will be a bit of a moderator here on today's webinar, Dynamics 365, How to Limit Business Users Testing. So I'm very glad that you joined us, guys. A couple housekeeping things. We are recording the session. Ask as many questions you want using the chat section during the presentation. And we will send a link to the recording and to the email address which you have registered with. So remember, we'll check all of your emails. So together with me, Bartosz Piech, our owner, I would say, owner of our product, Executive Automats framework. So Executive Automats and Executive Automats security setup. So moving forward to today's webinar agenda. So first we will do some introduction considering how to working with business users to transfer the knowledge. After that, we will show you how to aggregate those business processes and rank them in terms of the priority, criticality, and how next we'll move to how to involve the business users to triage when it is questioned. Business users and reporting as the third point of our today's show. And last but not least, the question answers section posted. Okay, so stage is yours, Bart. Guys, ask as many questions as you want. We will be happy to respond.
Thank you so much, Raf, for the introduction, and welcome everybody on the session. This is going to be definitely a content session about the methodologies and everything around the testing, not exactly about the tool. If you're going to be interested more in tool section, just let us know. We can sort of navigate you to some other stuff. But aside of doing the applications and software development, we also do methodologies, advisory, and so on. How to build test automation properly, considering those one version cycles and quality updates, which is kind of a very high pace. And today, focused on filing agenda, as Rafael was mentioning, there's going to be a nice session for us to just show some knowledge we got it throughout last 10 years. So why we usually are not working with business users, because they are heavily occupied. The business users, they shouldn't test. In AX 2012, this was a major thing that they were testing because the testing pace was much slower. You didn't have so much test cycles, release cycles of the application, maybe some in-house development indeed, but there was no CU update done so frequently that just a few customers maybe or percentages of the customers, they were updating CU cumulative updates very frequently. The other ones, they were just pushing 10 updates in a row just to deploy the newest version, which as a result gave you some more possible to handle timelines when it comes to testing and occupying business users with testing. Now, when it is so big, so quick, you're going to create a massive frustration on the business users, which we don't want. And this brings us to the topic where the users are testing inadequately because they will say, I've tested, but they haven't done that. They are just frustrated about this. And this will lead us to delays in delivering the releases, especially when you have to deploy one version per quarter, practically one version of FO, one version per quarter. You are leading to just building tension, which we don't want. When you talk with business and when you think about your whole test coverage, it is good to take some approach, visualize your processes, and you can distribute them across the organization. So in here, that's kind of one of the graphs we are performing or creating for customers to tell them or to show them some principles, some examples, how they can create a coverage plan, how they can organize their testing plan. In here, more as a work stream where you see your organization. This might be different graph for different legal entity as well. Just keep in mind. In here, we've got work streams and processes underneath work streams. You might also see that we've got naming convention, which are set, which has in it also the workstream ID, name, the abbreviation plus extensions with variants. So this naming convention is very important because we are able to communicate precisely what to test. If you don't have, if you are able to build this kind of identification of distribution of test cases, but you will not call your processes by ID, you might be in a position where users will talk about testing sales order creation, but they might not be so precise, and you might have some missed shots. You wanted to test international sales order, but somebody will understand that as intercompany, which cannot test the same functionality. That's why it is good to build up naming convention to streamline your communication in the team and make sure that you are testing the exact process that you wanted. The last lines, which you see on the right-hand side regarding purchasing in this area, This is referring to variations of the process, because you can have one journal creation, you can have 6 of them, you can have multiple categories of the customers which are triggering some new functionalities. So it is good to have them in mind to understand all variations. Of course, there might be 6 variation and one test case which goes through those 6, because this is kind of a very quick, easy test case to maintain, and just one value is changing. This is something we can approach. But overall, the idea is that we understand the scope, we understand the coverage, what we want to test. And then when we can name process by its name and we are aware of how many test cases are here, then we can build or set up the workshops with the business users. And this is a very easy to do workshops with the business user, where you start with process identification. So you call sales owner, the sales area owner, and you ask them for lining up all processes. And then from the top, you go one by one, recording the process. So identification, then recording. So business user can record the test case, just step by step how they do that. They can place some comments to make sure that the process is complete, that they explain why they selected this main account, why they selected that specific bank account, and so on and so on. Then super user takes over that. And of course, after the recording, the status is changed, which is important. So the status change means that the business user ended up their part. They're delivering our test case for improvement, and the super user is applying those validations, optional steps. They are adding on the top of this whole process a little bit more to make sure that everything what is intended to do about the test case will be done automatically. And then when the improvement is done, we are going to the status update to make sure that the test case which is created going to go to the DevOps and will build up the coverage. So the final status can be published or delivered. And then we are moving to the next process. So we go along and we build up the coverage of our test plan. What is important, the aggregation by criticality. So when you list up your processes with the business, you might want to make a quick focus on asking them what is the most important, what is the critical process in the organization, to focus firstly on the low-hanging fruits or the processes which are vital for organization, which are used day by day, daily, which if they will not work, the organization can have significant losses. So we focus on those on the first moment, and when we have the test plan, and we even going to have 5 or 10 test cases, but they're going to be signed off by super user of automation. They will be able to add that to the smoke test, and from that moment when they are ready, they can be continuously executed on weekly basis, or bi-weekly or monthly basis as a smoke test package. So sometimes you don't need to aim for regression testing straight away because it might be very costful. You can aim for smoke test, which will just cover basic line, just to have something which will go just row and provide you the health status of the environment. So as you see here, record with top priority, delivering the biggest value. And then when we involve, or why, or when is the moment where we involve the business? Of course, if you are thinking about some manual test activities, because we never are able to record 100% of the automation, there is always a part of manual activities, and this is something where business will have to be involved. But then when the business is involved, within the triage, which means that if within the smoke test we can identify a bug or something critical happened, and we have to react, we have to estimate the risk, we have to understand why the process was changed, the bug is created, and within the bug, we are able to communicate with the business, can actually apply the business user or assign to the ticket, so they are aware and they are able to actually reject the ticket or just let us know that we have to continue, because actually within the new version, the process is drastically different. As you may see here on the previous slide, underneath a bug on the backlog in DevOps, we are able to build tasks for developers, for consultants, for architects, and many more people to record their time and solutions around this specific bug. And this is the moment where you are able to calculate also the ROI on the testing. You will be able to see how much you've invested, but also how many bugs you found out that they exist through this whole testing cycle. So this is the moment where you are asking the business to jump in the triage and carry on with the testing. Maybe the last thing to mention, on the Epic, on the highest level here, where we have this finance and operations testing 2023. So for whole year cycle of testing, for summary, in that section, we also name all our business users. So anybody who works on the project knows who is actually responsible for each area, to make sure that when something goes wrong, test manager or product owner of the Dynamics can just jump in there. They can watch who is on the list, who is responsible for the area, and they can attach this specific element. Moving forward to the business users and reporting. This element contains a bit information about where you can find details or how you can communicate with business on the results. Overall, it's all about testing and communication. So we have some stakeholders, and they have to be super sure that we've tested our new version, that we've tested enough, and they need to know about the results. So if you're gonna have your test cases properly set, test plans, test suits, and test cases in ADO, you'll be able to use progress report, which is a nice element of progression report. If you're gonna run 10 cycles of testing within a quarter, you'll be able to see how the health goes on, how many bugs we found out. And here we have two fails, so we have two potential suspicious elements for triage, and those two, they need to be taken care of in case of sort of pushing this specific code to the production. And here, business can make sure that we've done the tests. So less questions, everybody is happy about that. Of course, this is standard coming from ADO, but you can also use some non-standard elements, some custom one built out of the Power BI. In here, we've got a little bit more testing cycles, about 60 test cases, and from one error message out of those 50 up to 20 when environment was down. So you probably you can extract more details from these reports. Power BI gives you full flexibility on that, and we highly advise to build those to make sure that the stakeholders, they have access to this report and they don't ask questions. They just go in here just to make sure that the testing was done and what are the results. If they're gonna ask, all right, but what about specific test case? Of course, they can go to runs. They can find out this last execution, and they can drill inside to any specific one which you see on the screen to see the results, to later on go to the testing tool and extract some documentation if that's needed. If you are operating in highly regulated industries, every test case can be converted to documentation as a proof that you've done the test on that day with that result, and the whole validation section is also secured. So this is a nice lifesaver and time saver for you. And just quickly, we can focus on the QA session. If there are some more questions from you guys of what you've seen, we are able to circle back to some elements, including also ADO, to show you more how it is configured, what kind of profiling you can use.
Guys, feel free to address any questions right away. Okay. Oh, there's a one. I'll just show it right away on the screen. So what % of manual versus automated tests do you see today for customers in project? What percentage do you see today during the quarterly releases. Oh my god, my tongue just broke. And what the percentage do you think it could be, and why are we not there yet? Very cool question.
Sure. Thank you so much, Henrik, for the question. I think the first part, as this is a multi question, the first part. So, what is the percentage of manual versus automation? It depends on, of course, on different customer, on different number of integrations, but we see that starting from 60% up to 85, and sometimes rarely 90% of the test cases are automated, and then 10% is more organized or focused on the reporting or something which can't be put in the logical boundaries. So if something can't have, if you can't describe some borderlines, if you can't describe the logic, how to verify the specific test case, the specific environment, then these are going to the manual testing. Some test cases, they need significant number of data or some specifics for execution, and we can't automate that unless you're going to do some extension. So we can say from between those values. What percentage do you see today during the quarterly releases? So we see that if we're gonna take a look on our customers, we see that mostly they are executing smaller number, which is about 100 test cases for smoke tests. And these smoke tests are running continuously, even once a day. And you can question why to do that, why to run daily tests on the environment, which doesn't change. It's all about the data amount and some corner cases which are found within that. You can imagine if you were posting 10 different journals and some amount later on, you can end up where some deadlocks are happening, or you are exceeding limits of credit limits, if you're exceeding any other limits that are not met on production yet, but on the testing environment where the amount of data can also grow efficiently and quickly. You will go to the places to those corner cases, and you're going to prevent them happening, which we recommend to do. That's as I was showing this progression report, where you iteratively you execute within a quarter number of time the same test cases. And this is for smoke test, but indeed quarterly customers are applying one version. So this is one of the approaches we see. They of course apply the quality update each month, and each one quarter product update, the one version. And before every significant one, so every one version release, they do regression, which is taking practically all test cases that they did created for their release cycle or testing cycle of the system. And this activity is once for a quarter. What percentage do you think it could be, and why we are not there yet? So this is all about the integrations I see and data management. Some customers are struggling with data creation for testing, but more and more they are utilizing elements like data management functionality in Dynamics, where they import, in example, journals, and then they are posting those journals automatically. More and more customers are using ISV extensions for XML integration, XML sort of transaction import into the system to perform activity on those transactions. So I see that there is a kind of learning curve. Still, testing in F&O is kind of a new ground, and since the pace is so high, customers are putting more and more focus on it. So I think statistically this will grow over months or maybe 2-3 more years. And definitely the capabilities of handling other platforms, because sometimes when you are implementation partner, you can be accused that you are ERP centric, that you think only about the ERP system, and that's true. A lot of partners has this problem. We also had in the past that we were focusing or telling the customer, you've got testing tool for ERP system. But actually, before the ERP system, there is CRM. After that, you've got some APIs. We have to think about that globally. So 100% of the coverage is taking all of them underneath one place and organizing that. CPOS, hardware station, and so on. So this element are also growing, and the percentage of handling on our side and the automation overall is growing because finally customer engagement, which is one of the mostly clunky application that we can probably have right now, since it is very dynamic and it is kind of unstable, and also is applying a lot of version updates within a year. These applications can be more uh, easily automated. So that is something which is very positive. So I believe that customer engagement automation will bring us more percentages, and it will grow to that 90-ish or 80-ish plus something on some grounds. And then uh, actually there will be a limit where we can't go forward because there are some elements which need OCRs or artificial intelligence to just tell you if it is right or wrong. So this will probably be left to the business at the end of the day. Apologies for long talk, but
Yeah,
I hope I
but
covered the question.
I think we have answered correctly all the questions here addressed by Henrik. But also, what we are seeing, this probably also you mentioned that this quality updates is some kind of a new movement in our environment. I would say Dynamics security that as they are released quite say often, the our actual clients are feeling that there's regression say approach in terms of the testing should be more frequent, just like that, to prevent them from any issues what the quality updates may we'll say put them into. Okay. Do you have any questions? I just want to check the chat section. Okay. I see another one. Thank you, Henrik, again. Yeah. What project type in DevOps gives you the possibility to use the Epic feature and requirements? Okay.
I think the response or answer to this question is actually agile. I will double check in the configuration, but as far as I remember, the agile type of the project in DevOps gives you the chance to build up the structure we have on our testing methodology. Then you have those Epic requirements features and tasks and bugs below. And yeah, I believe that's kind of the best one to approach when you do testing in FNO. But you can also keep it as a separate project. You can keep it as a separate team to not disturb with other ongoing activities in our DevOps.
Thank you, Bart. So there's another question. I think Henrik has asked another question. Go ahead. I will just show it right away. In the early stages before the project starts, customers usually do testing to verify which standard process that can use and where they need to configure customization. Could this also be automated? Well, so I know. May I ask an additional question, Henrik, to you? Do you mean in the design phase? This is what you need, that you want to automate the verification stage? What kind of standard process you have? So it's some kind of process exploration?
I guess Henrik is asking about probably UAT, to automate a bit of UAT processes or mapping the actual business needs.
Okay.
The process. Correct me, Henrik, if I've read the question.
If we understood correctly your question, because yes or no.
We also have another tool called Executive Explorer, which is created in the intention to identify business processes and heat maps how you use the system.
Okay, so correct. So in the early phases, okay, I'll just Sorry, Bart.
Yeah,
In the early phases, exploring and checking which processes that can be used.
Mm-hmm. So definitely, as a partner, we are doing a lot of products and a lot of different extensions for Dynamics, and so more and more we are focusing to provide you guys something called an application lifecycle management, which addresses every issue or project that you can have in your organization in regards to finance and operations. And we have the application which listens to the environments, to all user actions, to validate what they do, to
Executive
make sure,
Explorer.
Executive Explorer, to validate if you are able to um, sort of create a heat map of what they do in the system, of the users are doing, and then you actually know what to update, what to move to the within the implementation process. So that might be vital when you move from 2012 to FNO, to make sure that you are not taking all customizations, to cut only those fragments which are important for you. And this is something which is kind of a heart for automation, since the users, they need to they need to record the test cases. I mean, kind of it might work for test automation if you're going to ask users to record the test cases, so you're going to use kind of test automation instead of Visio or other business process mapping tool, which can be an option.
And also what is cool about, because we have mentioned this UAT phase, that Executive Explorer can help you in terms of checking if the business users are physically do the tests. So thank you guys for a good presentation, interesting topic. Thank you, Henrik, for the question.
Following the thought of yours, Rafael, the UATs, that's kind of always a problem, because you have to accommodate the business users, and I think if you are playing in front of them, if you are playing in front of them the test case, they can watch and observe and tell yes or no, I like that, or the process doesn't work as I wanted. So I think that there is a possibility to automate the UAT a bit. It won't be, because this is a user acceptance test. This is not automation acceptance test. So the automation can tell you it is green or yellow, but definitely this might be a nice ground for you to maximize the efficiency and your users' time what they spend on the different phases on the implementation.
Yeah, that's for sure. And also, to be honest, we have such a client which have implemented the automation in very early stages of the design phase of their environment. Why? Because they decided that as they will use our tool for documentation, as on the very beginning stage, they will have a very good fundamentals in terms of preparing the regression pack. So it will significantly increase the creation of the regression pack. So this is also, but there are many ways how to apply the automation, but it really depends on the situation when you are, where you are exactly. But we really want to talk about it. So if you have any ideas how to utilize our tool, you can just reach us out via our executiveautomats.com webpage and contact tab. We'll be happy to discuss that further with you guys. But yeah, moving forward, thank you again, Henrik, for the question. Moving forward to the questions. And yeah, before we move to the other question, I just want to share with you information about the free trial program of our tool. And right away, you will see in the comment section and the chat section the link to the landing page, which will give you the ability to book yourself a free trial of the Executive Automat. So basically, you will have a chance to configure that tool with your own environment and to test all those things which you have moved and be addressed here on today's webinar. Okay. Just want to show you. This one. And we have, one more question. This is quite interesting. Do you have a methodology on performance testing?
Long topic. We've got. Nice we have different approaches on performance testing, and we can show you. I think we can create another webinar on that if you're going to be interested, right? Because we did a significantly big project in South Africa on performance testing, and out of this exercise we did with customer, we've been able to create some nice concepts. We also did other in the past, and we see that there are some approaches which are very cheap to do, which can be understood that you can add your performance testing into your testing cycle. So even though if you're going to build, so maybe just a short approach
in the in the big picture, Bart, please.
Yeah, in the big picture, you can simply make your KPI and add it before your quality update. I mean, maybe not quality update, but you can build your KPI and run performance testing before every one version cycle, and you are able to do it within 1 day. So 1 Monday can be just spent on the execution, build up the KPI, and within a year you may have 12 nice points of KPI, how it grows, how it goes down. If there are some downsides of performance, we'll be able to have some comparisons, because now in the current state, there is practically no methodology available broadly on Dynamics, and also there is no tools which can perform you
and help you to determine where you are. Exactly.
Yeah, mimicking the business activities to perform some KPIs estimation aside of the executive automate. So we can try to create something for that.
Yeah, guys, if such a topic will be very interesting for you guys, just feel free also to do the comment or in the chat section, put yes or no. This is like something which we'd like to hear about. Also hear us talking about this topic because it's very interesting, and I would say we have more and more clients interested in that, and yeah, we'll be happy to share about our knowledge and methodology. Cool. Guys, so I will just check if we have any more comments or questions here. And just okay. So guys, I don't see no more questions. Just remember about this free trial program, and yeah, remember to contact us, my colleague, and myself, Simon, or me. You can contact us directly. You can use this email address which is shown right now on the presentation, or you can just easily go to the www.executiveautomats.com and click the contact tab to reach us out and book yourself a quick call or quick chat with us. We will be very happy to discuss all the topics which we have addressed today, and also more and more about the test automation, regression testing, security setup, or the process mining. Thank you, Bart.
Thank you, Rob. Always a pleasure to have a session with you.
Yeah, remember to join us in summits. I would say first one in Slovenia and second one in Charlotte. We will be there. We will be happy to meet you in person and see you around. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.